Picture this. You come home after a long, exhausting day. You drop your keys, take off your shoes, and grab that crinkly bag of treats. You shake it. You wait for the familiar sound of tiny paws drifting around the corner. But silence. You check under the bed. You check inside the forbidden closet. You even check the washing machine. Nothing. Your heart drops into your stomach. Where is the cat? It's a living nightmare that plays out in thousands of homes every single day. But do you think your cat planned this escape just to spite you? Do you think they packed a tiny bindle and left because you bought the cheap pâté instead of the fancy chunks in gravy? Or did their feline instincts just short-circuit? Today we are exposing the absolute biggest, most devastating mistake that causes devoted cat parents to lose their beloved pets forever. And trust me, it is something you probably did this very morning without even realizing it. Drop a comment right now and tell me your cat's name and their absolute weirdest hiding spot, and let's get into the mind of your little furry fugitive. Before we reveal the ultimate mistake, we need to talk about who you are actually living with. You might look at Mr. Fluffles, currently sleeping belly up on your laptop keyboard, and see a helpless, lazy baby. But biologically speaking, you are sharing your apartment with an apex predator. Yes, a tiny, goofy, box-obsessed predator, but a predator nonetheless. Cats are hardwired with hunting instincts, intense territorial drives, and a curiosity that, as the old saying goes, is highly hazardous to their health. In the wild, they are solitary hunters. They map out their territory, they patrol it, and they react to sudden movements faster than you can blink. Even if your cat has never been outside a day in its life, that inner tiger is alive and well, just waiting for the right trigger. They aren't trying to be bad, they are just being cats. Understanding this massive disconnect between our human logic, it's safe inside, we have expensive wet food, and their feline logic, bird, must chase bird, is the absolute key to preventing a tragic disappearance. Let's start with the absolute foundation of this massive mistake, the illusion of the smart cat. You know exactly what I mean, fellow cat parents. We look at our cats and we anthropomorphize them. We give them human traits. We think, oh, Whiskers is so smart, he knows how to open the treat drawer, so he definitely understands that jumping out of a third-story window is a bad idea. This is a fatal assumption. Your cat's intelligence is deeply tied to their instincts, not human common sense. When a moth flutters past an open window, your cat's brain doesn't perform a risk assessment. They don't calculate the drop distance or remember that they don't have wings. Their brain simply screams, "Tarsi MP acquired! Pounce!" We falsely believe that our cats will keep themselves safe because they seem so calculated when they are judging us from the top of the fridge. But in the heat of a predatory moment, all that supposed intelligence goes right out the window, literally. Assuming your cat knows better is the first step toward losing them forever. This brings us to the first major physical manifestation of the big mistake, the open window trap, also known as the tilt and turn disaster. Many cat parents think cracking a window open vertically for some fresh air is perfectly safe. The gap is too small, you think. My cat is way too chunky to fit through that. But remember, cats are essentially made of liquid. If their skull can fit through a gap, their body can follow. And here is the truly horrifying part about tilted windows. If a cat tries to squeeze out and slips, they get wedged in the V-shaped gap. The harder they struggle, the deeper they slide down into the narrowest part. It is incredibly dangerous and often fatal. Even a regular wide-open window is a disaster waiting to happen. People think, my cat has sat on that windowsill 1,000 times and never jumped. Yes, but they only have to slip, get startled by a loud noise, or lunge at a passing pigeon exactly one time. Never ever trust your cat's self-control around an open, unprotected window. It is a gamble where the stakes are your cat's life. But wait, what about the legendary mosquito net? This is a trap that catches so many loving owners off guard. We put up a standard fiberglass window screen to keep the bugs out, and we think our home is now a secure feline fortress. Let me break it to you gently. A standard mosquito net is designed to stop a mosquito weighing less than a gram. It is absolutely not designed to stop 12 pounds of pure, unadulterated feline muscle flying through the air at top speed because they saw a shiny bug. Cats have razor-sharp claws. A few good scratches or one full-body pounce, and that flimsy mesh will pop right out of its frame, sending your cat tumbling out into the great unknown. I cannot tell you how many heartbroken owners have said, "But the screen was down." If you don't have reinforced, bite-proof and scratch-proof pet screens, often called pet mesh or metal grates, your window is practically wide open. Don't let a thin piece of bug wire be the only thing standing between your beloved kitty and the dangerous outside world. Now, let's talk about the myth that breaks my heart the most. Cats always land on their feet, so a fall isn't that bad. Let's bust this right now. Yes, cats have an incredible righting reflex. If they fall from a certain height, their vestibular system kicks in, they twist their spine, and they attempt to land paws down. But this does not make them invincible superheroes. Veterinarians even have a name for this: high-rise syndrome. If a cat falls from the second floor, they might not have enough time to flip completely, resulting in severe injuries. If they fall from higher up, even if they land on their feet, the sheer force of impact can shatter their jaws, break their pelvis, and cause severe internal bleeding. And even if, by some miracle, they survive the fall completely unharmed, what happens next? They find themselves in a terrifying, loud, unfamiliar environment. A strictly indoor cat will instantly go into a state of blind panic. They won't wait patiently on the sidewalk for you to come get them. They will run and hide in the deepest, darkest hole they can find. So we've secured the windows, are we safe? Enter the front door dash. Some cats are stealthy ninjas, and the front door is their ultimate target. The mistake owners make here is underestimating their cat's speed and motivation. You are coming in with groceries, struggling with your keys, holding the door open with your hip. You aren't looking down. In a fraction of a second, a furry blur shoots between your legs and into the hallway or the street. Why do they do this? Are they unhappy? Not necessarily. For an indoor cat, that door represents an unexplored territory full of new smells, sounds, and potential territory to conquer. It's not that they hate you, it's that their curiosity temporarily overrides their attachment to their cozy bed. The mistake is treating the front door casually. If you have a known door dasher, you have to institute the airlock protocol. This means knowing exactly where the cat is before opening the door, or using baby gates, or tossing a handful of treats in the opposite direction right before you exit. You must outsmart the ninja. Let's take a moment to dive into the psychology of the escaped indoor cat. This is crucial because how you search for them depends entirely on understanding their panic. When an indoor cat gets outside, whether they fell from a window or dashed out the door, their brain goes into survival lockdown. Everything is too loud, too bright, and smells wrong. They are no longer the confident tyrant who demands treats at 3 a.m. They become a terrified prey animal. The massive mistake owners make when searching is walking around screaming the cat's name, expecting them to come running like a dog. An indoor cat in panic mode will not come to you. They will find a dense bush, a gap under a porch, or a dark basement, and they will freeze. They will enter a catatonic state of fear where they won't even meow if you are standing 2 feet away from them. They think staying silent keeps them alive. If you lose your cat, you must search with a flashlight at night, looking for the reflection of their eyes in the darkest, tightest spaces imaginable within a 5-house radius. Moving on to a different but equally dangerous variation of the core mistake, the unsupervised outdoor stroll. There is an outdated mentality that says, cats belong outside, it's natural. So owners open the door, let the cat out in the morning, and assume they will come back for dinner. This is playing Russian roulette with your pet's life. Yes, decades ago this was common, but today's world is vastly different. The mistake is believing the myth that he always comes back, until the day he doesn't. When a cat is roaming free outside, they are exposed to an insane amount of danger. Fast-moving cars driven by distracted drivers, stray dogs, aggressive feral cats carrying diseases, toxic chemicals like antifreeze, and sadly, cruel people. An indoor-outdoor cat's life expectancy is drastically lower than a strictly indoor cat. If you truly want your cat to experience the breeze and the birds, the safe solution is a secure catio, a cat patio, or harness training. Letting them roam free is a habit born of good intentions but deeply flawed logic. Let's talk about the harness training illusion. So you realize letting them roam free is bad. You buy a cute little harness and leash. You put it on Fluffy, step outside, and boom, a car backfires. Fluffy turns into a Tasmanian devil, does a triple backflip, slips right out of the harness, and vanishes into the bushes. The mistake here is rushing the process and using the wrong equipment. Cat parents often buy cheap, dog-style harnesses that a determined cat can back out of in 2 seconds flat. Furthermore, you cannot just strap a harness on a cat and go to the park. A cat is not a golden retriever. You have to introduce the harness inside the house over weeks. Let them wear it while eating, while playing, so they associate it with good things. If they get spooked outside, your instinct might be to pull on the leash, but pulling is exactly what helps them slip out of it. If you want to take your cat outside safely, you need a high-quality, escape-proof walking jacket and the patience of a saint. Otherwise, your fun walk turns into a permanent disappearance. Now we arrive at the technological mistake, the microchip misconception. We live in the future, so people assume a microchip is a magical GPS tracker. I've heard owners say, "Oh, I'm not worried if he gets out, I can just track him on my phone." No! Alert! Sirens blaring. A microchip is not a GPS device. It does not emit a signal. It has no battery. A microchip is simply a tiny glass cylinder, the size of a grain of rice, implanted under the skin, containing a unique ID number. It uses RFID technology. This means it only works if an animal control officer or a vet physically finds your cat, waves a specialized scanner over their back, and reads the number. If your cat is hiding under a shed in the next neighborhood, that chip is completely useless for locating them. The mistake is relying on the chip as a proactive tracking slot rather than a reactive identification tool. It is an absolute necessity, but it is a safety net for after they are found, not a radar to help you find them. And that leads us to the most tragic subset of the microchip mistake, the unregistered chip. This happens so often it makes veterinarians want to cry. You adopt a cat from a shelter, or you pay the vet to chip your kitten. You pat yourself on the back for being a responsible pet parent. 6 months later, the cat escapes. Someone finds them, takes them to the vet scans the chip. Beep! They get a number. They type the number into the database and... nothing. Blank. Just the manufacturer's name. Why? Because the owner never went online, created an account and linked their name, phone number and address to that specific chip number. The chip is useless if it's just a random string of numbers floating in the void. Or worse, the owner moves, changes their phone number and forgets to update the registry. If someone finds your lost cat, the chip is your only ticket to getting them back. The huge mistake is thinking the vet registers it for you automatically. Check your paperwork tonight. Make sure your cat's chip is registered and your phone number is current. What about the good old-fashioned collar? This brings us to the collar conundrum. Many owners of indoor cats think, he never goes outside, so he doesn't need a collar. Plus, it ruins his glorious mane. This is a massive mistake. If your indoor cat escapes through that open door or a broken window screen, they are out in the world completely naked. When a stranger sees a cat outside without a collar, their first thought is usually, "Oh, that's just a stray or a neighborhood feral." They might ignore the cat entirely. But if that same cat is wearing a bright collar with a shiny tag, it instantly signals, "I am a beloved pet. I have a home and I am currently lost. Please help me." A collar is your cat's voice when you aren't there to speak for them. Yes, they have a microchip, but a stranger can't see a microchip from across the street. The mistake is valuing comfort or aesthetics over a crucial visual identifier. An ID tag with your cell phone number engraved on it is the fastest way to get your cat back if they slip out. But wait, before you rush out to buy the thickest, strongest collar you can find, we have to discuss the deadly opposite of this mistake: using a non-breakaway collar. Cat owners sometimes buy small dog collars because they are cute or sturdy. Do not do this. Cats are acrobats. They climb trees, they squeeze under fences, they jump on furniture. If a sturdy dog-style collar gets snagged on a branch, a nail, or a piece of furniture, the cat cannot get free. In their panic to escape, they will twist and pull, which can lead to tragic, fatal stranger isolation. The only type of collar a cat should ever wear is a breakaway collar. These have a special safety buckle designed to snap open under the pressure of the cat's body weight. Yes, this means they might lose the collar if it gets caught, and you'll have to buy a new one. But I promise you, losing a $10 collar is infinitely better than losing your cat. The mistake is prioritizing the durability of the collar over the safety of the cat's neck. Let's shift gears to a situation that causes absolute chaos: the trip to the vet. The mistake here is what I call the carrier catastrophe. You need to take your cat to the clinic. You can't find the carrier, or you think, "It's just a 5-minute drive. I'll just hold him in my arms in the car." This is a recipe for absolute disaster. Remember, cats are creatures of habit. Taking them out of their territory and putting them into a noisy, moving, vibrating metal box, your car, is terrifying for them. If they are loose in your arms, and a truck honks loudly, or you have to brake suddenly, your cat will panic. They will deploy all their claws, scramble over your face, and likely bolt under the brake pedal, which is incredibly dangerous for you. Or they will wait for the exact moment you open the car door at the vet clinic and shoot out into the parking lot like a rocket. A parking lot full of strange dogs and moving cars. Never, ever transport a cat outside your home without a secure, hard-sided or sturdy, soft-sided carrier. Holding them is not an act of love. It's a huge risk. Even if you do use a carrier, there is a sub-mistake that leads to lost cats: the flimsy carrier fail. Not all carriers are created equal. I have seen owners walking into a clinic with a cat shoved into a cardboard box with holes poked in it, or a cheap fabric bag with a broken zipper. Cats are incredibly strong when they are motivated by fear. A panicked cat can easily rip through a cheap mesh window on a discount carrier, or force their head through a zipper that isn't locked down. Even worse, the handles on old, brittle plastic carriers can snap while you are walking across the street, dropping the box, popping the door open, and sending your cat sprinting into traffic. The mistake is treating the carrier like a minor accessory rather than a critical piece of safety equipment. Invest in a high-quality carrier with sturdy locks, and always test the integrity of the carrier at home before you put the cat inside. Your cat's life depends on that plastic box staying closed. But what about inside the home? Can you lose your cat without them ever going outside? Absolutely. The mistake here is ignoring the hidden house traps. Cats are programmed to seek out warm, dark, enclosed spaces. It makes them feel safe from predators. But in a modern human home, this instinct can be deadly. One of the most common tragedies involves appliances, specifically washing machines and dryers. You leave the dryer door open while folding clothes. It's warm in there. The cat climbs in for a nap. You come back, toss in a new load and close the door without looking. It is a nightmare scenario that happens far too often. Recliners and pull-out sofa beds are another huge trap. The cat crawls into the mechanical underbelly of the chair to sleep. Someone sits down and pulls the lever, and the cat gets crushed. The mistake is being oblivious to your cat's hiding habits. You have to develop a persistent paranoia. Always check the dryer. Always know where the cat is before operating mechanical furniture. You have to think like a cat to keep them safe. Another internal danger that leads to permanent loss is the silent killer: toxic plants. We all want our homes to look like a lush, Instagram-worthy jungle. So we buy beautiful bouquets and trendy houseplants. But cats love to chew on greenery. They think it's salad. The fatal mistake is not researching every single leaf that enters your home. The biggest offender? True lilies. Easter lilies, tiger lilies, stargazer lilies, they are spectacularly toxic to cats. And I don't just mean eating the leaves. If a cat brushes against a lily, gets the pollen on their fur, and grooms themselves, it can cause complete acute kidney failure in a matter of hours. By the time they start vomiting and acting lethargic, it might be too late to save them. Sago palms, Dieffenbachia, aloe vera, the list is long. The mistake is assuming that animals have a natural instinct to avoid poisonous plants. They don't. Especially bored indoor cats who are just looking for a new texture to chew on. Before you bring a plant inside, cross-reference it with the ASPCA toxic plant list. Period. It's not just plants. Human food is a minefield too. You're cooking dinner, and a piece of raw onion drops on the floor. Before you can grab it, the furry vacuum cleaner swoops in and eats it. You think, it's just a vegetable, he'll be fine. This is a massive mistake. Foods from the allium family, onions, garlic, chives, leeks, are highly toxic to cats. They break down the cat's red blood cells, leading to severe anemia. It doesn't happen instantly, which is why owners miss the connection. A few days later, the cat is weak, has pale gums, and needs a blood transfusion. Other common kitchen killers include grapes, raisins, chocolate, and anything containing the artificial sweetener xylitol, often found in sugar-free gum or peanut butter. The mistake is treating your cat like a garbage disposal for human food. Their livers and metabolisms are fundamentally different from ours. What is a healthy snack for you can be a one-way ticket to the emergency vet for them. Keep a tight lid on your trash cans and guard your cutting boards. Let's bust another health-related myth that costs cats their lives. My cat never goes outside, so they don't need vaccines or flea treatments. The indoor invincibility myth. Why is this a mistake? Because you go outside. You walk through parks, you visit friends who have pets, you step in dirt. You can easily track the eggs of fleas, ticks, or intestinal parasites into your apartment on the soles of your shoes. Even worse, highly contagious and deadly viruses like panleukopenia, feline distemper, can be transmitted via contaminated clothing or shoes. Furthermore, what if your cat accidentally escapes? Or what if a bat or mouse gets into your house? If your indoor cat isn't vaccinated against rabies, you are dealing with a potentially fatal situation for both the cat and your human family. The mistake is confusing low risk with zero risk. Routine veterinary care, core vaccines, and parasite prevention are absolutely essential, even if your cat's only domain is the living room couch. Skipping these is a silent mistake that can sneak up and steal your cat away. This leads us to the psychological mistake owners make regarding their cat's health, ignoring micro-changes in behaviour. Dogs will usually tell you when they feel sick. They whine, they limp, they look pathetic. Cats are stoic survivalists. In the wild, showing weakness makes you a target for bigger predators, so cats will hide their pain until they physically cannot pretend anymore. The mistake owners make is dismissing subtle changes. Oh, he's just getting older, he sleeps more. She's ignoring her food because she's being picky. He is hiding under the bed because he's feeling antisocial. No! If your normally affectionate cat suddenly hides in the closet for 2 days, they are likely in severe pain. If they stop grooming themselves, or if they suddenly start peeing outside the litter box, it is rarely a behavioural issue. It is usually a medical emergency, like urinary crystals or kidney disease. The mistake is waiting to see if it clears up. By the time a cat visibly looks sick, the disease is incredibly advanced. Knowing their baseline normal behaviour and acting immediately when it changes is how you save their life. So, how do we fix all this? The ultimate solution to not losing your cat forever is a shift in mindset. The core mistake is complacency. We get so used to our cats being fixtures in our homes that we forget they are fragile, instinct-driven creatures living in an artificial environment. You have to become the proactive guardian of your furry overlord. Secure those windows with heavy-duty pet screens, establish door-dashing protocols, make sure they have a breakaway collar with an ID tag and a registered microchip. Vet your houseplants like an FBI agent. Invest in a solid carrier and never skip annual vet checkups. Yes, it sounds like a lot of work, but think about the feeling of their soft fur rubbing against your face, or the sound of that deep, rumbling purr when they fall asleep on your chest. They give us so much love, comfort, and hilarious entertainment. It is our duty to protect them from a world they simply do not understand. Combining love with fierce, uncompromising safety measures is the only way to ensure your cat stays by your side for a long, happy life. And there you have it, fellow cat parents. The mystery of the feline mind unravelled. Now you know exactly what is going on inside that cute, fluffy head of theirs. And more importantly, you know how to stop that one massive mistake from turning your home into a scene of heartbreak. They might act like tough, independent tigers, but the truth is, our cats rely on us to be their common sense. Despite the midnight parkour sessions, the shredded toilet paper, and the constant demand for snacks, we wouldn't trade them for the world. We love our little weirdos, and keeping them safe is the ultimate act of love. If this video helped you, or if you realised you need to go check your window screens right now, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more perfect zoo psychology, and share this with every cat mum and cat dad you know. Let's build a safer world for our kitties. Before you go, answer me this. What is the most ridiculous thing your cat has ever done to try and escape? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.